Hiya, I'm Jasper, and welcome to your video review for Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. So this movie stars Antonio Banderas, a number of other people, and Ray Winston. And you're like, wait, who's Ray Winston? I feel like that name sounds familiar. And you should, because he's the guy who always sounds like this gruff, badass British guy who's in charge of a small gang. Like he's the leader of the gang, but it's kind of a small gang. You won't be disappointed here. Okay, so as always, I'll give the good, the bad, and the furry. The furry, it's called Puss in Boots. It stars a cat. There's a bunch of other animals. Need I say more? So I will say that I didn't realize until after I watched this movie that apparently there was another Puss in Boots movie that came out 11 years ago. So I guess watch that one first. I didn't, and I still enjoyed this movie. So thumbs up for this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Basically, the general gist of this story is that Puss in Boots is on his last life, and he's scared because now he's on his last life, so he has to be actually careful with it. So he kind of dramatically fails and then reacts poorly to it, and then this is kind of his journey. And you know, he makes some friends along the way, or meet some friends, or meet some bad guys. There's a whole bunch of things that happen. I'm not going to ruin it for you because I found that going into this movie blind and knowing nothing, I liked the introduction of different characters, and I liked, not knowing this, that, or the other thing, like, ooh, what's gonna... So, I want to leave you without that. Hopefully you haven't seen too many previews, because I got to see an advanced screening of this, so this should be coming out well before, I think, the December 23rd. I'll have the correct date if that's not it in the description down below, but the, wide release doesn't come out until December 23rd-ish, and you should definitely see this movie in theaters. They definitely decided that, hey, we know how to do Disney-style animation, and we're not going to do that this time. I would say that they didn't quite reach, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse level of, wow, that's so different. But it is definitely a different style of animation that I really liked. It took me a second to be like, oh, okay, so, there's something different. And then once you watch it longer, you feel like, okay, I liked that it was a different style. What really threw me off, though, is that they had this different style of animation, or just of the coarseness of fur, I think, is one of the things that'll be easy to kind of see, oh yeah, that is different. But it was slightly different. But when there was a fight scene, they went even harder into it. Sort of like how certain animes, they go, they're running and there's just streaks behind them and they're just coming up, and frame rates might change. And I think that the frame rate change was the thing that threw me off, especially the first time, because I was like, is the projector or digital thing, is that messing up? What's going on up there? But it continued to do that, but just during the fight scenes. So just go in there knowing that it's going to be a little different during the fight scenes. I didn't find it too distracting. I just thought it was a little bit of an odd choice that they went with that particular style only during the fight scenes, only because I felt personally like it drew me just a little bit out of the universe, that okay, now we're in fight scene graphics. So it just kind of made me remember okay, this is animation. Whereas I think that if they'd done that the whole time, or not at all, and just kept their slightly different style of animation the whole time, I think that might have been better. But I do really appreciate that that they're experimenting, that they're trying different things and not just staying with the Encanto, Luca, Coco, just the Disney style that we've seen 1.5 million times before. You know what I mean? So I appreciated the effort and the differences. I have talked to some people, and some other people, they did really like that fight scene thing. They thought that it added to it. So, hopefully you also enjoy it when you watch the movie. And you should watch the movie in theaters, because it's a big to-do. So, but yeah, the storyline, I thought it held up nicely. The music was fun. Antonio Banderas is always a win, in my opinion, so it was great to see him. Some of the other characters that you meet, I think were just absolutely hilarious and just so heartwarming. I want to be one of those characters in that movie, with just how heartwarming the character is. And I don't want to spoil it too much, because you just gotta get there. But let me know what character you would want to be in the comments down below. the fight scenes were good. The motivation of the characters were good. The jokes, when they needed to happen, happened. The overall tone, I thought, meant the appropriate level for, danger and scary, but in line with what is ostensibly a kids movie. But everybody's, I think, going to enjoy this because it didn't like talk down to you. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't ridiculous in the like, okay, you're breaking your own universe rules. Like I think everybody stayed consistent with what they had established right in the beginning and with just kind of the universe's rules, if you will. And I felt for so many of these characters. So even the I'm going to call them antagonistic characters were great. And so yeah, I have basically nothing bad to say about this movie. Like, is it one of the ones where you can kind of predict the ending based on the like overall, hero's journey type of thing? Like, probably. I'm not going to say whether or not you're right or wrong, but you can definitely make that guess and be like, yeah, I can definitely see where I would expect this to go. But you know what? It's about the journey. So I think this is a great journey. So you should enjoy this journey, and you should go on this journey in theaters December 23rd, or hopefully that's the right date. Check the description down below. Alrighty, that's all I have for this one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you at the next one. Bye.